I used to weigh 305 pounds at my heaviest. I was a really big guy. There's no reason for anybody to be 305 pounds. I started my fitness journey there from 305 to now 181. I've been sustaining this weight for around 6 years now. That's what really sparked my journey and my passion for health and fitness. And I've been leading people to a healthier lifestyle ever since.
This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatry, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
We got a guy who I've had the pleasure to meet here recently. I haven't known him for a long time, but man, from what I have known about him, I've loved, I've enjoyed, but I'm telling you, man, I don't think I've told you this, and I haven't said your name yet, but I did some IG stalking on you when I heard about your arrival at our beloved gym.
I heard about it.
You did? But one of the things that intrigued me when I was IG stalking you was your story, man. And we're gonna hear about that in a bit. But I don't know what kind of box to put you in, so I'm not even gonna try. So I'm gonna refer to you as a fitness nutritional expert.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Y'all give it up for my guy, Jon Owens.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
Happy to be here.
Welcome, man. Welcome. For the people who don't know or just getting to know you, give us a brief synopsis of who you are, your story, how you came to be. Let's hear it.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Jonathan Owens. I grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but I moved out here for school. I always wanted to be a doctor. However, during my time in undergrad, I figured out that I didn't want to become the doctor that I thought I wanted to be.
Okay.
And what it was while I was doing my biomedical sciences classes or whatever, they call them BMD classes at UAB, I figured out that they were more so in the realm or the business of disease management rather than disease prevention. And so what I did for myself, I asked myself, what do I have a passion for? And how can I get out in front of that curve so that I can prevent people from getting these diseases, these preventable diseases? So I decided to become a personal trainer. So I went to school and I switched my major over to kinesiology with a focus in fitness leadership. So with that, I figured, hey, I'm going to become a personal trainer. I'm going to help out as many people as I can. I also minored in nutrition as well, so I can. So now that I have the movements down with kinesiology, I can put it together with the nutrition portion as well, so that whenever people come to me, I can give them a full breakdown of what they need to do to get out in front of that curve so they can prevent these diseases such as diabetes or heart disease or cancer, even cancer. So that's basically who I am, or my study background there. And so I used to weigh 305 pounds at my heaviest. I was a really big guy. I played football at Hillcrest High School. I finished my season out around 265 pounds, but I wanted to walk on at UAB in the 2016 year. However, my weight just kept climbing and climbing because I was getting prepared to do battle out there as the starting nose guard, right? So we needed a really big guy up front. However, that year the program shut down, and so I was just like, man, listen, there's no reason for anybody to be 305 pounds, especially if they're not trying to move weight around or be an athlete, right? So, I started my fitness journey there, and from 305 to now 181, I've been sustaining this weight for around, I'd say 6 years now, around 6 years, and that's what really sparked my journey and my passion for health and fitness, and I've been leading people to a healthier lifestyle ever since. So,
awesome story, awesome background.
Dang, Jon, I didn't stalk you.
You didn't stalk me enough.
Wow. Okay.
What was kind of the
tipping point
for why you what caused you to lose the weight?
I'm glad you asked. So my family history, just like many Americans in this day and age, it's bad. So my father, he passed away when I was 13. Passed away when I was 13. Sorry, sorry. And he was a really bad diabetic. He had half his foot amputated. He was blind in his left eye. He was on dialysis. I still remember those Baxter boxes coming in, hooking him up to a machine every single night, just so we can get the fluid off his legs. And my uncle, he was the same way. He's gone as well. But with all this disease that's running in my family, high blood pressure, heart disease, the cancer, the diabetes, I figured, well, now is the time to make a change because I'm going down the same route, getting as heavy as them. And the only way to I thought to prevent these things from happening was to do the complete opposite of what my family was doing. So I started the diet. I started off doing clean eating. So I was eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. The staples of bodybuilding, right? But sooner or later, I was like, man, I need to lose weight a little faster. I need to lose weight a little bit faster. So I started doing keto. That was completely unhealthy. Don't ever do keto unless you have to lose weight like really fast for a moment in time. So that's not a sustainable diet. So watch out for that. And then I went on to, looking back to my heritage, and I noticed that most black people in America, they are lactose intolerant. And that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, okay? What happens is our body starts to reject the process of making lactase, the enzyme to break down lactose. And so therefore we become lactose intolerant because we can't break down the lactose, the milk sugar inside of milk, inside of dairy, inside of cheese. So I started doing it really, really lightly. So I got rid of meat first. Was one of my first things because I was already allergic to fish. So I couldn't eat fish. Shellfish it still did me the same way, just not as much as regular fish. So I still get itches and rashes and things like that. And then as far as beef goes, I always noticed that my stomach started to hurt, especially when I ate like steak, like all the really tight fibrous meats, right? So I got rid of that, and I was like, well, shoot, if I'm gonna go for gold here, I'm just gonna get rid of all meat because I feel like I'm sustaining myself here. So I got rid of all the meat, and then I got rid of eggs, then I got rid of the dairy finally, and now I'm sitting here as a full vegan, and that's the vegan diet. Actually, is what predominantly the African culture used to be. So. That's where I am now, and I'm optimizing my life because of that.
Dumbfounded, Gatry?
No, I'm just dumb. John, but hold on, man. Eggs, bro.
Yep.
Eggs.
Anything that has a mother, I do not eat. Anything that comes from
is there anything? I guess what is because I do eggs. Mm. Are there any? Is there actually an issue with the eggs, or is it was just part of the whole cleansing process for you?
It was part of the whole cleansing process.
Gotcha.
So from a nutritional standpoint,
eggs. If you can handle eggs, then eggs are fine.
Okay.
I do know some people that do have egg allergies.
Right.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, in terms of composition of the egg, because the egg is like a high cholesterol thing.
Yeah.
Cholesterol is another one of those terms that our society deals with.
So that also leads to high blood pressure. It also leads to plaque forming in the arteries. If your cholesterol gets too high, which ultimately leads to stroke or leads to heart failure or heart attack. So
2 scrambled eggs a day probably isn't.
I don't think 2 scrambled eggs a day would be bad.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it would be bad. Cool. However, if you start taking in 5, 6 scrambled eggs a day, then
right? Okay.
What about egg whites?
Egg whites. So egg whites are mostly liquid or water and protein. Whenever we talk about protein for eggs, it's mainly coming from the white part, not really so much coming from the yolk.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I mean, egg whites. That's totally fine. I would say if you're not somebody who's trying to strive for going for vegan or vegetarian, you can definitely eat eggs. Get some sorts of protein because it is really tough as a vegan, even as a vegetarian, to get all your protein in.
Okay. I'm about to go in, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
So just being real, I like many other black people, especially on my father's side of the family, not bad, but long history of diabetes, high blood pressure, diabetes at the amputative level, right? So, I mean, I'm talking about kind of like you, like I felt a lot of similarities at the, as close as the uncle level, right? I've talked about it on here before, but I too had a pre-diabetic instance, and it led me to change some of my habits. At that point, I gave up red meat and pork. Yeah. So, I've seen a change in terms of like my blood sugar. Obviously, I'm not a pre-diabetic risk anymore. Good. Numbers are where they need to be, except the scale. But more on that later. But I was gonna ask, like, we are your source for the black male perspective. In your opinion, what do you see, or what kind of warning signs do you give that really plague us as black men in terms of dietary and even fitness? Like, what are we doing wrong, in your opinion, from a social standpoint?
Ooh, what are we doing wrong?
You got 10 seconds.
I was about to say, let me throw them out there. All right. So what I usually notice as far as the black community goes is we gather around food.
Ooh.
Guilty. Gather around food. Okay. Not every gathering has to be centered around a huge meal. And even if you do gather around the meal, these meals don't have to be loaded in carbs, loaded in sugars, and loaded in fats at the same time. Okay, so whenever we see certain bad foods, they're usually, high in carbs, high in sugars, and high in fats. For example, cookies. High in carbs.
What's wrong with cookies?
Well, nothing is wrong with cookies. I believe in moderation. However, whenever you're
Like 20 cookies.
Like
20
cookies a day.
So if we took an average soul food meal, right? All right. So let's say collard greens. Let's say sweet potato casserole. Right.
Say what they are. Don't say those sweet potatoes.
Sweet potato casserole.
No. Yams.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sweet potato casserole or yams, all right, candy yams. There we go.
Right.
And
Heavy on the candy.
Let's also say fried chicken. Okay.
Of course.
All right. So if we look at this meal is all types of loaded up. It's definitely delicious, right? But let me tell you why it's delicious. Because it has carbs, because it has fats in it, because it has sugars in it, it's more delicious to us. Okay? That's a natural whenever we back in the day, back when people were hunters and gatherers, they would try to gather mostly berries. They would try. I seen the documentary where these people in Africa, they were still living in tribes, and they would search for honeycombs. So they look for sources of quick sugars as a means to sustain them until they hunted and gathered their actual meal. So here in society, since it's readily available to us, we don't need to be searching for or consuming that much carbs, sugars, and fats. So back to our meal here, the yams, loaded in carbs, right? And mind you, healthy carbs for the yams, right? But what's unhealthy about it is the added brown sugar, the added
candy.
Butter. Yeah, exactly, the candy. If we look at our collard greens, these collard greens are not just regular collard greens. It's not just, greens inside the water, right?
Got some bacon fat in there.
Oh, here we go. Got bacon fat, got some hog maw, some
flavor.
Right. And most of those things that come from the pig, it's really fatty, right? So as we simmer it down, all the fat is leaking out into the greens, making it more delicious, right? More appetizing. And if
is anybody else hungry?
And when we
now I know where he's going.
And then when we look at the fried chicken, right? We batter it with flour. Flour is a carb, right?
We don't just look at it.
A simple carb too.
Yeah.
And then, I heard something where, and they're partly right. Whenever you process the flour like that, it's almost like you're just taking in sugar. Okay. So you can break down that flour that you're battering it up with.
Don't forget what you're cooking it in.
Yep. I was getting there.
Yeah, all right,
I was getting there.
Sorry, my bad.
And then we deep fry, right? We deep fried in oil. So we loading it up with fats, carbs, and sugars. And flavors. Yeah, that's fine.
Goodness.
So when we look at that, we are over consuming the amount of fats, carbs, and sugars that our body needs to either, thrive as black people, thrive as human beings rather, or even to sustain ourselves. So we're over consuming food. Okay. So that, I would say, that would be the number one thing that is plaguing us as a black community. We are over consuming food.
You mean that by like proportions of what you should be intaking?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
And what would you say to people? Because one of the biggest concerns, we've seen what has happened this year as it pertains to inflation. We've seen gas prices go up. We've also seen the price of food go up. The biggest complaint that I hear is, I want to eat healthy, but it is so doggone expensive. What would you say to those people who are concerned about eating better, but taking a huge dent in their wallet, or that at least being the concern?
Okay. Yeah. So I recently bought a house.
Congratulations, man.
Me and my wife, we recently bought a house last year. So I know how it feels to not have enough money to get the healthier foods, right?
Right.
However, it's not all about, I'm going to say two things here. It's not always about the price as far as the food goes. Sometimes it's the location that you're going to. So if we went to, say, Winn-Dixie, oh my goodness. Winn-Dixie upcharges everything, absolutely everything, okay? And then if we went to Aldi or Trader Joe's,
Hey,
now we talking a lower price for healthier foods, right? And secondly, it's not always I would say that most people aren't taking advantage of canned foods, frozen foods, dried foods like beans, the pastas and things like that as well, because those are really inexpensive. Really inexpensive. Me and my wife, we go to Aldi and we maybe spend $100, maybe, on groceries for 2 weeks that sometimes even last the whole month if we're eating inside the house. So I don't think that I think that people should rethink their sources. Rather than buying fresh fruits, you can just opt out for frozen fruits. Rather than buying, I don't know, rather than buying like fresh chicken or like prepared chicken that's already prepared, you can go to the local farmer's market, buy a chicken and get a chicken there and chop it up yourself. So the more process that's going into it, the more expensive the food is going to be.
They got to package it, put all the additives in to keep it longer.
Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
Exactly.
You think part of it is it's just that people are not willing to put in like the work, the labor it is to prepare their food?
I agree. I would agree with that, because I feel like another problem here is that we're absolutely lazy, or we we don't have the know-how to do the certain things. But I mean, that's an excuse, but it's also not a really good excuse either, because you can just look it up on YouTube. You can look it up on Google.
Look up everything else on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I feel so seen right now.
don't feel seen, bro.
Okay.
It's okay. It's all a process.
John, I want to go back to your journey.
Yeah, man.
All right. So you tipped the scales at 306, 307 at your heaviest.
305 at my head.
305. Yeah. Florida, 305. Oh, okay. Tough crowd here, John. I'm sorry about that. He normally laughs at everything I say.
All right, man. It's okay.
So you tipped the scales at 305. You're down to 181. Dude, talk to me about that journey. Like, in particular, moments where you wanted to quit.
So I don't think I ever wanted to absolutely quit. I think that there was some times where I immediately got lazy. I got stuck in my ways and didn't try to push a little bit harder. So one that I can think of, two accounts here where I felt like my motivation wasn't as high to continue to lose weight. That's when I got down to 225. And when I got down to, I would say, 200 pounds, because obviously as you continue to lose weight, it gets harder and harder to lose that body fat, because your body doesn't want to lose the weight, but you have to force it to. Okay, so I would say when it was around 225, I felt like I was good to go. I was like, oh man, I feel good. Still wasn't seeing any abs or anything, right? I don't think I'll ever see all my abs clearly because of the loose skin and the stretch marks and things like that. Sure. But, whenever I got down to that 225, I just got complacent. I didn't really strive for another goal. I knew what I wanted to look like, but then I thought to myself, oh, well, I mean, my family has always been bigger people, so I'm never gonna get down to 181, right? I'm never gonna get down, right? I've reached my genetic floor as far as losing weight. However, that wasn't the case. What it was is I didn't make further changes to my diet to clean it up. So as far as my diet went, everything was still clean eating or vegetarian or whatever diet I was on at 225. I was still following it, but then I caught myself not following it, right? So I would be on the diet, but then again, I wouldn't be on the diet.
Like, make that real for us.
So whenever I say,
you can keep this like ice cream, cookies, pizza.
So what? I would say cookies. Oreos are vegan. Oreos are vegan. However,
wait, you for real?
Yeah, Oreos are vegan.
Legit. I thought you were joking.
I still eat Oreos now on days where I feel like I need a boost.
The regular Oreos.
Oreos.
Not the double stuff.
The double stuffs that's vegan too.
What about the lemon joints?
I'm not sure. I'm not into the lemon joints.
Then you're not into Oreos. What are we doing, John?
Are you talking about the golden ones? Or
No. They got the thin Oreos with the lemon filling. Are we gonna talk about it, John, or no?
Man, I'm good on that.
We're not gonna talk about it. You need to relax.
No.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's either the classic
you said Oreo,
one, it's either the classic one or the golden one, right?
Okay.
But you would treat yourself.
Yeah, I would treat myself, but I would be overzealous when I treated myself, right?
You would binge.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go.
You would binge.
Here we go.
Okay.
So, I do, because I used to be that big. There are times in my life or times throughout the week or times throughout the month where I'm ravished like I'm super hungry, right? I just want to eat up everything in sight. So whenever I was 225, I felt deprived for so long. I was like, oh man, I deserve this. Like I can do this. Like I can have all the snacks that I want. I'm 225. I'm not gonna gain.
You're
right?
in a deficit, so you're
right.
like, what's the impact of doing
Yeah.
this?
Like what's one more cookie, right?
I know what you're talking about.
And so I went ahead and binged out, and then that was my cycle. I would binge, I would restrict, I would binge, I would restrict, I would binge, I would restrict. That's why it took a lot longer for me to lose that weight than I wanted to, rather than having that steady progress down. I would be up and then down, up and then down, up and then down. And then when I finally caught myself, I got rid of the foods that was making me do that, and then I dropped down to 200. And then again, when I got to 200, it's the same story. I treated myself, and then I would go on the binge, restrict, binge, restrict, binge, restrict, not losing any weight there until I finally got rid of that food that was making me do that. And so now I'm at a stage where I know what my trigger foods are, specifically cereal, ice cream, Oreos,
Sugar.
right? Yeah.
Mine are Cheez-Its, John. I'm just gonna put it out
Cheez-Its?
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I used to be so into Cheez-Its, bro. I used to be so into Cheez-Its.
In my prime, dude, I used to put down a box every 2 days.
Jeez, man.
I know, dude. That's why I'm where I am now.
So
But
Still?
what's crazy? What's crazy about
I've pretty much given up Cheez-Its for the record.
That's your
Well,
trigger.
good.
food.
It's my vacation food, but even then, I've been responsible, and I will only allow myself so much. When it's gone, it's gone.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. That's good on you, because I wouldn't be able to.
Really?
I wouldn't be able to do it. If it's in my house, I'm eating it. Like,
Gotcha. Okay.
because in the moments of weakness, you are weak.
For me, if I don't open it, it's self-control. But once it gets open,
It's on the popping.
Man, that thing, it wouldn't stand a chance. It wouldn't look. One night in my house, that's it. That's all that 1 hour that is there, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
turn into
done.
Tyrone Biggums, like
man.
for real. Yeah, man. So, go ahead.
No. You answered my question.
So, what would be your advice? Because here's where I think a lot of people are: is what advice would you give people who reach their goal? Because the problem in some cases is not getting to the goal; it's staying at the goal.
Gotcha.
Right. So once you get there, out goes your motivation. Out goes being fed up with where you are. You're no longer there, so you have a tendency to kind of like what you did. You got a 225. You're like, all right, you start feeling yourself a little
Right.
bit, and then the intensity starts to wane. What advice do you give to people in terms of if you know you're still on your journey, or if you get to the finish line, what do you need to do mentally, focus to where we get down the road a year or two and you haven't reverted back to where you started or somewhere along your journey?
Got you. I love this question. So what I would always advise is that you eat when you're hungry. Okay, you portion out your food, no matter whether you're dieting or not, or you're trying to maintain. You're always eating the same foods. You're always supposed to eat the same foods. If you're trying to gain weight, you're eating a little bit more. If you're trying to lose weight, you're eating a little bit less. And then when you're trying to maintain, you're eating a moderate amount of foods, just eating whenever you're hungry. So what I mean by that, what you need to do is, check in the mirror every morning, right? You're looking at yourself in the mirror, asking yourself, okay, am I gaining weight? Am I losing weight still? Or do I look the same? Oh, I look the same? All right, good. We're good. I can go ahead and eat what I was eating yesterday, right? Now, over time,
Excuse me.
over time, if you're still stepping on the scale, you can monitor your weight that way. But it's not a clear-cut science to it as far as maintaining, because you never really know if you're maintaining, or if you're 1 calorie over, or 2 calories over, or 1,000 calories over, or at that point you should know if you're 1,000 calories over. But
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, it's a great deal of intentionality. You get to 1,000.
But I don't think that it's clear cut. What you need to do is always have some mode or modality of measuring yourself to make sure that you stay consistent.
That's good. Yeah.
So I always like to choose 3. So for me, it's looking at myself in the mirror, stepping on the scale, and then occasionally doing an in-body scan. That's bioelectrical impedance. It measures your body fat.
Sounds painful.
It's not painful at all, actually. You just step on the electrodes and you hold it in. And then even that, it's not as accurate as, say, a DEXA scan would be or hydrostatic submersion would be. But again, it's just a way for you to continue to measure yourself and say, hey, I'm good, or hey, I need to dial it back a little bit more because I'm gaining a little bit more, right? Even if you find one of those little scales on Amazon where it reads your body fat percentage, you can use that too. I mean, that's still good. It may not be accurate, but it's what do I used to say? Inconsistently consistent.
Oh, okay.
Is there a fourth option you're leaving out as far as?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's definitely more.
Take measurements, right?
Yeah. You can
Clothing.
take actual measurements, clothing. Yeah, that's a good one as well.
I was actually talking about your wife. She don't like look you
Oh
up and down
man,
and be like,
my wife, she told me that she would love me even if I was 305.
Oh, wow.
She used to like
Yeah,
bigger guys.
My wife never told me that a day in my life.
I mean, my wife loved me at 313, so yeah.
I mean, my wife would love me, but I would.
There'd be some conversations.
Yeah. Tough love. Tough love.
I like, whenever my wife starts calling me thick, I know that I need to.
there you go.
I need to start dropping down a little bit more.
There you go.
So yeah.
They got way of dropping hints on you.
Yeah, right.
John, you said something that really stuck out to me, and it's something that I have, I guess, nailed in my psyche in terms of my overall fitness and nutrition approach. But I've just bought into this, and it's a myth. Okay, we're gonna sit at this white table and be honest. Okay, I know it's a myth, but I've still bought into the fact that I'm just a big guy. Like genetically, I'm just gonna be big, broad shoulders, whatever. Right, big legs. I'm just gonna always be big.
A big head.
Big head. Hey, John, I forgot to tell you, the darts fly in this room.
Hey, man, that's all right, man. Look, I'm just trying to dodge them.
No, they ain't coming your way. You safe.
But I still got goals though. I guess my goal for the longest since I got married, 13 years ago, is to get back to 250. I was 249 the day we got married, and that's like the smallest I've been in my adult life, or the lightest I've been in my adult life. Mm-hmm. And I've had my struggles. I'm just being real about it. A lot of it, I know what it is. It's me. But how do you counter that? Like, oh, I'm just going to be a big guy. Like I was put here to be a big guy. That's how I'm genetically made. Like, what's the counterbalance to that?
Well, that's tough to say because everybody has their own experiences. Everybody has things that were said to them or things that they went through that caused them to gain the weight in the first place. So it's going to be really hard for me to say. However, what I always tell people is that you absolutely can do anything that you want to do. There's a certain thing called the SAID principle, or specific adaptations to impose demands, which basically means that any stress that you put on your body has to adapt to it. Whether that's you training up for a marathon. Somebody doesn't just go out there and just run a marathon. Right. Whether that's trying to put on muscle. Nobody just, wakes up the next morning and has a ton of muscle, right? You have to work up to it. And even on those first couple of days that you're working out, you're extremely sore, right? But if you go 6, 7, 10 months, years down the line, you're probably not going to feel that same type of soreness, not with that same work that you was putting in to begin with, right? So it's the same thing with weight loss. Like whenever you start, I mean, there's gonna be like a little learning curve as far as what your body can take. However, over time, you get to learn yourself a little bit more. You get to learn your triggers. You get to learn what things work for your body, and through that, you should listen to your body and not ignore it, right? So whenever your body gives you these cues, whenever it gives you these signals, listen to it and act on it. Make that change. If you're really serious about doing something, or if you're really serious about your why as it relates to your life or your fitness goals, then you'll never stray away from your why. Never.
Wow.
I do have I have 2 more questions for you.
I've only got one, and mine is random, so I'll wait till you're done.
I have a question too.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Let's go.
What would you say? Well, talk about the importance of community when you're going on this journey, because of course, another challenge that, just speaking from my personal experience, my wife and I will be doing great. We'll be going strong. Then the holidays come, right? We gather around food. And I know, speaking, you can speak from your experience. You've made this lifestyle change. You're going to see family. They haven't made this commitment. And so, of course, they'll pick at you, joke at you, what you eating? What's da-da-da-da-da? And talk about the importance of having a support system where people are doing what you're doing and you don't have to succumb to the temptation of what you're trying to get away from.
Ooh, okay. So as far as having a support system, that is one of the things that I usually ask people whenever they're getting started. Especially if they're getting started with me as a health coaching client or a personal training client, I always ask them, hey, do you have a support system? And if they don't have a support system, then I make it my mission to contact them 5 days out of the week, even on weekends sometimes if they really don't have anybody there to support them, right? Because I feel like whenever you have people there to support you that have your back, that you perform a lot better, and you see that with anything. Like, you wouldn't see an athlete just go out there and just perform and not have a coach. I mean, they're going to only get so far. Like, the best people in this world, they have a coach, right? Or the best athletes in the world always has a coach. Even the coach has a coach. Even I have a coach, right? So whenever you have a support system, that's going to be your strongest go-to, especially when things get tough. Whenever you're hungry at night and you're saying, "Oh, dang, man, I really want to just go grab a bowl of cereal," right?
Yeah.
Don't grab that bowl of cereal. I always talk to my wife before I make a move, right? I always say, "Hey, babe, I really want to go get some ice cream right now, and I know I don't deserve it." And she always say, don't get it. Go drink some water. I'm like, ooh, you're right. Because, I mean, sometimes you got to have that person to just make it real for you,
and
right?
Sometimes you really are thirsty.
Yeah,
You just misinterpret it as you're hungry.
Hunger.
That too.
That's a good point, Walker.
That too. So I always believe that having that support system is a key factor. Now, as far as gathering around food around the holidays, and I know this all too well, right? I always have to bring something for myself whenever I am gathering around food with other people. And that way I have control over my portions. I have control over what I'm actually putting into my body. I don't feel pressured by everybody else because I just spent all this time making the food. I'm going to eat this food, right? I'm not going to waste my money and my time, right?
Facts.
So if you have a support system and your support system is your wife, whenever y'all are dieting, bring something to the gathering. Don't just leave the house empty-handed, okay? Or you could eat before you go and not have so much, right?
I'll bring it with me.
Bring it with you. Yeah.
Because it's gonna be like, eat this cake. Because people swear up and down you're not hungry.
Right.
Like, even though you
Right.
like eat something, eat it. But
Like,
if they
man,
see you
I
with it, they know what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that way they don't have to ask you, oh, what can you eat? What are you eating?
Right.
You sure you don't want some? Like, no, I'm good. You see my food here.
Right.
I'm eating this. I made this. This is what's gonna make my body feel good. And then over time, and because I've noticed, I've been in a household where my family was skeptical about the whole weight loss thing, and now it's turned to, dang, John really knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And now my brother, he was 350 at some point in time, and he's dropped down to around 185 now as well. So now he's in the household as the health guru now as well. So he lives in Tuscaloosa as well with my parents still before he moves out. But it has everybody asking, Josh, what are you doing? What do I have to do to lose all this weight? And my brother always say, just go talk to John. Go talk to John. Like, I did everything he said. And then it's funny because the same people who were, skeptical about the whole thing are now wanting answers because they notice I made the change and they're still stuck where they are or even heavier.
Can't argue with the results, right?
Right.
It's probably simple too, isn't it?
It's super simple. So
I struggle with simple. Go ahead, Black. Or did you?
I had one more, but you guys can go and then I ask the final.
I got to say mine for Lines because it's totally random. He's not going to spend a lot of time with my question.
Okay, I'll get my two out of the way. So if you could think back to your past life, what was your favorite food you can have? And if you could have it today and it'd be like no repercussions, I could just have this one thing I used to eat, what would it be?
Wings.
Do you want to think about it?
Wings.
Fried wings?
Wings. Specifically, 20-piece wings from Archibald and Woodrow's in Tuscaloosa.
Very specific.
Road trip? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, definitely so. You might need to make that drive up there.
Okay.
But grilled wings are okay, right?
Yeah. Grilled wings are great.
Okay.
Yeah. But their wings,
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing grilled about that.
Yeah.
And my last question is, I guess, when you want to take your wife out, where do you feel okay going out to eat?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So we always check to see if there's vegan options beforehand before we go anywhere. There's a local spot around here at it's called Tropicaleo or Tropicaleo.
Oh, the Puerto Rican spot.
Yeah, bro. So
I'm familiar with
they got a regular menu, but they also have everything that's on their regular menu. They have a vegan menu for it.
Not bad.
So that's always my go-to if they're open. Now, as far as regular restaurants go, Cheesecake Factory, they have the Beyond Burger there, so I can have a burger. So I don't have to feel weird at the table eating,
Yeah.
eating. It's always funny when I sit down, man. They're always like, oh, "What you gonna eat, man? Salad?"
Yeah,
I might.
I might.
That's your folks too?
Yeah, that's the go-to. That's the go-to.
Yeah. So but there's always options at the places that I go, and even then, I might just do something a la carte. I might just get like a sweet potato, no butter, or I might just do some broccoli, no butter. Make sure they saute it in oil instead of butter. Just something simple.
You made me think of another thing. I guess, is there like a menu or something you can share with people? Like, this is, if you stick with this sort of like diet or this group of foods, like, do you have like something you can give like a list of things like, this is what I would probably eat on a weekly basis?
As far as veganism goes, or as far as
if they have goals similar to yours and they want to eat healthy and have like good results, like what foods do they need to like have on like a regular basis?
Got you. Okay, so I always follow something called the precision nutrition diet. Okay, precision nutrition diet. So what they do is they basically use their hands as portions to map out what types of foods to eat or how much of what types of food to eat. So if you look at the palm of your hand, that's one serving of protein, the palm of your hand. So if y'all can see, the palm of your hand right there.
Oh,
okay?
not the whole.
No, not the whole hand. No,
I started here and went here. I was like,
no, just the palm of your hand.
And no fingers.
And not front and back either.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But that gives you the width, and it also gives you the thickness of that protein source right there. Okay, so if you're trying to lose weight, obviously you would probably just go off of one serving of protein per meal there. Now, if you look at your hands, the whole hands, that's going to be your vegetable sources. So your green leafy vegetables. So your broccoli, your kale, your Brussels sprouts, spinach,
Squash.
cauliflower. Squash is fine too. Yeah,
Okay.
I like squash. I like a good squash. But yeah, that would be as much as you need for one serving of vegetables. Okay. Now, if you scoop your hand like so, this would be your carb source. Okay. So if I was to scoop out some rice, that would be about a serving of rice there. Serving of rice, serving of pasta, serving of oatmeal. All the carb sources.
Just make believe is Cheez-Its.
And
Well, you know, since you're there, I will have to say I found a great alternative to like ease my Cheez-It fix or whatever. They're these almond flour crackers, and they don't have anything in them, but they've got enough salt on there because that's all I'm really craving. It's not the cheese from the Cheez-Its, but they're baked, pinch of salt, almond flour.
why not do sunflower seeds?
You're
So
not gonna
that-
get it. You're not gonna get an answer.
So that way, wait, hold on. So that way, your mouth is still working, right? So you're getting that salty fix, and it takes a lot longer for you to get to the actual seed. So if you can slow down your your snacking.
I choked on the sunflower seed
Jesus.
shell.
I'm sorry.
He need adult foods.
Cut his food up.
It was once I was sitting in the back of a truck. I choked.
Got a little impatient.
Hey man, never be afraid to try again. Okay.
Okay, but I could get the sunflower seeds without the shell.
No, that would defeat the purpose. that would defeat the purpose.
Really?
Yeah, it would.
Sunflower seed.
Yeah, the whole seed, right?
With shell.
With the shell. It slows down your eating.
You lost them.
Remember we were talking about
But you
laziness
gotta
earlier?
spit the shell, right?
Yep, you gotta spit the shell out.
Is it biodegradable?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Continue.
We were scooping out. All right, so serving of rice there is the scoop, and then you would also have your fat source here. So that would be about the serving size of your oil or your butter or your nuts and seeds. If you were to get the sunflower seeds without the shell, you would just hold that up, and then.
But with the shell, I can cup.
Yeah, you can cup it. You can cup it with the shell. You can eat the whole bag of sunflower seeds. It's only 450 calories.
But why would I want to take those 450 calories somewhere else?
To the Cheez-Its.
Why y'all on me?
No, I'm saying like it's either the 450 or the
What's your
2000 inside
I
the
don't know.
2000 inside the Cheez-Its.
See, it's people like that frustrate you because you just told him what this.
It's okay. It's all right. It's
I'm gonna try sunflower seeds this weekend. I
Just
promise
try.
you. I'll try and report back.
You can snack on them until your stomach start growling, and then once your stomach starts growling, then you're on to your next meal.
Jesus.
Usually it takes about
I'm joking.
not the Cheez-Its, bro. Not the
Make sure you sit up right when you eat your sunflower.
Seriously,
Please do.
I'm gonna have some PTSD from that.
Somewhere he gonna be turning purple.
John said this would work.
Come back to Cheez-Its.
Okay, so John, random question:
Okay.
is the Apple Watch a hoax in terms of health and fitness?
It is inconsistently consistent.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with
So
John, listen, okay? Me closing my rings every day is not going to make me any thinner. Me closing my rings every day is not going to make me any lighter, question mark.
It may. If your goals are, if the movement goals on there are big enough, then yes, it will.
if you close it several times or a few times, it'll help.
And then I'm gonna even say this: if you get to a point where you close your rings and you're on a stable diet, you're on a steady, stable diet, right? You're checking out the rings, right? If the amount of work that you're putting in to lose the weight with the diet causes you to lose weight, then your Apple Watch will be consistent and it will be accurate. Okay, so you'll know how much to move to get you there. Because I mean, it has an algorithm inside the watch, and that algorithm is not going to be the same for everybody, right? And think about people with thyroid problems. Some people are hypothyroid or have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, where they're burning more calories or less calories throughout the day, just because their thyroid hormones are not regulated properly. So it's going to be hard for the Apple Watch to know, oh, this person has a thyroid problem, right? So we going to burn 500 calories here. They might be burning 300, where somebody else may be burning, say, 600 instead of 500. So there's no real way to know, but they do use that equation on your Apple Watch to get you there as close as possible. But again, everything is not going to be clear cut in stone. Just make sure whenever you do start losing weight that you look at your Apple Watch and say, okay, how much am I actually moving according to my Apple Watch? And then do that, replicate that over several times to make sure that you're still losing the weight.
Okay. So what you're saying is the Apple Watch is a hoax. I got you.
That's all he got. That's all he got.
That's fine.
And you can verify that the statement, you can't outwork a bad diet.
That's absolutely true.
And I think that was part of my angle with the Apple Watch thing. I've got an issue. Like I am addicted to my Apple Watch. Like it takes a lot of thought for me to not put it on. And like today, like this, I had to write it down. But no. And you've seen me. You see me at the gym with it on. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to limit it to, if I'm not exercising, I'm not wearing it. Just because during the pandemic, oh man, I went, I think 4 months straight with closing my rings every day, and I got heavier. I got fatter. So I'm just like, man, why am I wearing this thing every day? So anyway.
What's your diet like?
Nah, don't worry about that. Okay. Not important. The Apple Watch is a hoax is what we're getting to. Well, thank you, John. I told you that question was random.
Well, yes. If you don't put the diet to the exercise, then
see, we need diet rings, Apple. Are you listening? We need diet rings. Like, just know what I'm eating, get my hypoglycemia going, or whatever you call it. What's it, the glycemic index? Get all that through my skin and tell me.
No,
I need a vegetable ring, a fat ring, and a carb.
Let me tell you how simple weight loss is. You pick a diet, you stick to it. Calories in, calories out, and that will determine whether or not you lose or gain. So if your diet is adequate, if you're eating, say, 3-5 times a day, right? You're spacing out your meals. These meals are not super big. You follow that the precision nutrition, hand portion size thing, and you notice that your weight starts to drop, stick with it. That's it. And replicate it over several days.
In closing, for the person who is overwhelmed, don't know what to do, all this sounds good, but once it's them by themselves, they don't know what to do. What is the first step you can give a person?
The first step I would say is to get the junk out of your diet. So the things that triggers you, the things that that you know that you binge on, the things that you find yourself snacking on throughout the day. If you know, because people generally know what's healthy, what's unhealthy. Like you don't have to have somebody there to say, okay, that's unhealthy, unless it's like something like really, like the small details really don't matter. Okay, is what I'm saying here. So if you notice that you're eating 5 bowls of cereal, cut it down to 1 bowl of cereal, right? If you notice that you're eating sugary sweets like cookies 5 times a day or Sour Patch Kids 5 times a day, then cut that out, right? Get the junk out of your diet, eat real food, and have 3 meals a day. Have 3 meals a day, start there, okay? If you feel like you're hungrier, start to add more meals in your day. No more than 5. Don't go past 5.
Okay. John, thank you so much, man. This was great.
Amen.
Really appreciate the time. Oh.
How do people find you, contact you, get in touch with you, scream for help? What's
Yeah, so you can contact me on IG. I'm more prevalent on IG at Coach Jon Finn. That's CoachJonFinn. FINN, or you can follow my TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, then you basically have your user guide to losing weight. You basically have your user guide to losing weight. It's the same thing at Coach Jon Finn.
Cool. That. Well, man, we appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with us, dropping precious jewels and gems. Definitely got to have you back on another time, man, to definitely kind of help men be better men. So we appreciate you providing this insight.
Keep Your Point Podcast.